Fallout New Vegas is arguably one of the best Fallout games in the Fallout franchise, at least in my opinion. And now that I have access to a decent gaming computer, the first thing I decided to do was mod it right away, of course. And after browsing through some of the mods, I decided that the perfect first mod would be a randomizer. So what the randomizer mod does is pretty self-explanatory. It randomizes everything from the heights of NPCs to their weapons and armor, and it can even randomize what merchants are selling, and it can randomize enemies, but only non-human ones. And with that being said, I decided to challenge myself a bit and see if I could beat New Vegas while everything is randomized. After waking up and seeing Doc Mitchell half naked, I decided I wanted to get out of there as fast as possible and went over to choose my special stats, skills, and perks. I opted to go with barter, lockpick, and guns, and for my perks I chose Wild Wasteland just because I like the weird shenanigans it brings, and Trigger Discipline. After heading outside, I spot Victor fulfilling his lifelong dream of being a Protectron instead of a Securitron. I then decided I wanted to go check out some of the town, so I made my way over to the saloon and greeted Easy Pete, who was dressed better than usual, while Sunny beefed up her armor and Cheyenne became a whole sentry bot. I followed Sunny outside to do the tutorial and she gave me a revolver, but my game crashed twice, so when I came back I ended up with Gabriel's Bark, which I see as an absolute win. I then went and did the whole tutorial, but when it came to getting the ingredients for the healing powder, I decided to check out the inside of the school, and I was met by a spore carrier and a whole deathclaw. And after getting killed a few times, I decided it wasn't worth the trouble, so I continued on with my quest. After finally making the healing powder, I go back to the saloon and introduce myself to Trudy, but not before I kill Brian Thorne. If you know, you know. Back at the saloon, Joe Cobb was trying his best to scare Trudy, and I went to go look for Ringo, where I found him hoarding some embalming fluid and some human flesh. Looking back at it now, maybe I should have sided with the powder gangers because I have no idea what Ringo was getting up to in that gas station. Nonetheless, after trying to recruit everyone that I could, it was time to face off with the powder gangers, and walking into this fight truly felt like I was in a war zone. But after getting crippled and almost dying, we managed to get the W and take Joe Cobb and his gang down. With Goodsprings relatively safe, I can start to make my way down to Prim, and here's where I find out that this might not be as easy as I might have thought, because not even a few minutes into leaving, I got attacked by some more powder gangers with a Gatling laser and explosives, so I decide to run away, where ultimately I get killed by another powder ganger with the flamer. Reloading back to my last save, I know exactly where the powder ganger is going to be, so I immediately blow his head off and I take his armor and the Gatling laser. Now I can take care of the other powder ganger who has a whole grenade launcher, and I blow up the remaining powder gangers down the road. After witnessing a very fair fight between a super mutant and a rad roach, which is normally a fight between a gecko and a rad roach, I make it to Prem, where I find a very small man standing too close to a burn barrel. After crashing Lieutenant Hayes' birthday party, I make my way across to try and save Deputy Beagle. And I just wanted to show you guys how this guy completely dodged my throwing spear and just proceeded to obliterate me. Anyways, after a few more, actually a lot more fails of trying to kill him, I eventually kill him with some dynamite and some grenades, and I finished the rest of the powder gangers with the Ripper. And right here is where I get this weapon called the Federator. It's a ridiculously overpowered gun that's basically gonna carry me through the rest of this playthrough. Once I save Beagle, I go and get the parts to repair Eddie, I think that's how you pronounce it, and transform him from a robot into a rad scorpion. And I later find out that he shoots freaking plasma, so nothing really happened at the Mojave outpost. So next I arrive in Nipton and I talk with this guy, you know, the guy that wins the lottery, and I slowly watch him in the distance get lasered to death. And I also have my very first encounter with a very non-intimidating Legion, and now it's time to head over to Novak. The first thing I do here is sneak up on Boone, and it's no wonder he couldn't hear me with that big helmet of his, but I do his questline and get him as my second companion, and we head off to the Repcon facility. So after I did the whole questline, well, after I got the Nightkin out of the basement, I realized that I wasn't recording, so I'm just gonna skip over to the part where we get to launch the rockets. So after losing my mind at seeing how Chris was dressed, it's finally time to launch the rockets and watch Jason Bright and his followers fly off to the great beyond, wherever that is. And I can go back to Novak and talk to Manny, and for some reason Chris looks like he's living with him. Maybe he must have seen how he was dressed earlier and he liked it, I don't know. But my work done in Novak, it's time to finally make my way to Freeside, where immediately upon entering I get attacked by a very tiny thug, but my Federator makes quick work of him, and man, this gun gives a lot of funny kill cams. So I go over to the Kings, and I just want to say it's funny how Pacer became a little guy with a big ego, since it really just suits him so well. And I find out why they call the King the King. After killing Oris for the King and doing the other quests, I can get the pass to go into the strip, but not before I watch the beefed up, get it? Strip security kill this guy. Oh, and I also have Rex with me. Once I'm in the strip, I see Victor and he randomized back to his normal self, or maybe it's supposed to be like this. But I make my way to confront Benny at the Tops Casino, and after looking around a little bit, I start to think that he's not there, but it turns out he's just really small and I couldn't see him. I should have killed him right then and there, but I didn't have a holdout weapon on me, and the little rascal gets away from me. So I decide to make my way to the fort to chase him down, and after literally putting Kaisar 6 feet under, I got to get my sweet revenge on Benny. I go back to the strip and Victor lets me into the Lucky 38 so I can talk to Mr. House. Now, I tried to side with Mr. House, but it honestly just felt like he was asking for too much. So I betrayed him and I killed him, but I at least managed to get the boomers on my side. After uploading himself to the system, and after I decided to ignore the Brotherhood and the Grey Khans, I'm teleported to Hoover Dam, where I have to fight with the not-so-scary Lanius, and after watching his body gracefully ragdoll down the side of this cliff, I get to confront General Lee Oliver, who I presumed was dressed thinking that there was going to be victory for the NCR, but I shut it down immediately, and with nothing left standing in my way, I get the Yes Man ending, and I prove that you in fact can beat New Vegas Randomized. Anyways, thanks for watching, and if you have any other challenges that you want to see me attempt, let me know. So yeah, see ya.